La 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 la. Mm. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Selena's here, Angel is here, Kaylee is here. Um, Brenda is here, entering the room now. Hello, Brenda. Kaylee, are you back from across the world? Are you still across?
No,
Ah,
I'm in Ibiza.
Ibiza! Wow! Um,
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm still here until the third. I go home on the 13th, I think. I haven't bought a plane ticket yet, so see.
Very cool. No plane ticket yet, but apparently energetically traveling on the 13th.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let's begin with the very short meditation, and then we'll jump into some of the content for this week. You can keep your microphones muted, but we're going to do a little bit of vocal toning. Gabrielle is here, connecting. Hi, Gabrielle. We're just about to begin. And Lucy is here. Yay. Okay. I love it, y'all. Welcome to week 1 practicum. We're going to just start right away with this short 5-minute meditation. It's going to include a little bit of vocal activation. And just follow along with me. No biggie. You can keep your microphone muted, but just to get to know your own voice, okay? So settle into whatever place you're in, using your eyes, maybe your ears. Notice the very present moment, the colors of the room, the feeling of your physical body in space, the temperature of the room, maybe even noticing the weather, hearing any sounds, letting everything feel alive for you in the present moment. And then just kind of letting a sigh out, a vocal sigh, like ah. And just feel that in your body. And then take a nice deep breath in. And then any vocal sound, is some sort of release, yeah? And then usually the third time is the best time. And then you inhale. And you let your voice go. And then settle into a breath, inhaling and exhaling. And then breathe normally. And feel your inner eye, that inner guru, this watchful presence. Let that take the seat. And begin to observe your thoughts. And observe your thoughts with the Hridaya, the divine heart. So with compassion, as if there was a warm light shining onto your body, onto your brain waves, onto your emotional landscape. And then almost feel as if your heart space could just spread a little bit wider. Just be available to yourself in this really loving way. And then flood your body with a warm golden light. And from the base of your belly, take a nice deep breath in here. And then another audible exhale. Whoa. And then fall into a natural breath. And today we're going to work on creating our invitation as teachers. And so in the room you're in, begin to make a humming noise as if you could, like a mother, comforting her child. And just begin to hum to yourself. And then just listen to your own voice. That's all you're doing, not judging your voice. Just listen to it. 3 or 4 rounds of just humming, going, You're feeling that sound. Notice where the sound goes inside your body and where it's vibrating. And try to send it into your heart space. Aim it there. And then, with an intention of comforting yourself, begin to hum into your belly and then feel that. Okay, last time. And then with this last round, send the sound into your skull and then vibrate your skull and see how that feels. Release the breath, and then last time, send the sound back into the heart and then see how that feels once again. And then let the vibration settle into infinity. Then sit once again with the tall spine, aligning the heart over the hips, the head over the heart. And for 3 rounds of breath, sit in your own silence. From the field of silence, the breath arises. And into the field of silence, the breath returns. Okay, and then bringing your hands to heart center, yogis. Anjali Mudra or prayer hands. Tucking your chin, bowing towards the heart space. And then quietly or out loud, begin to say any devotion, any sort of prayer, or any sort of intention that you'd like to invoke for today's practice. Once again, remembering that our practice serves as our greatest teacher. And that within each and every one of us, a guru. And remembering the space of the heart and feeling into that heartbeat, coming back to the physical body. Taking one last deep breath in through the nose. And letting go. And it is to each and every one of you that I bow. Om Shanti, 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 Om Peace, Hari Om Tat Sat Sat Nam. Namaste. Okay. Happy Monday, y'all. And for some of us, it's evening, morning. For some of us, it's Ibiza time. Yeah? Great. I'm gonna jump into sharing my screen right away. Okay. Just so that you can get familiar with what's going on. So here we are. Last week we didn't have a live practicum. There was an invitation to read Introduction to Asana. That's a very good one. We're going to do a vocal activation. We kind of just did one in today's prayer. And then we were encouraged to read Sankalpa, Prana, Drishti, Witness, Consciousness, Cleanliness. And today I will share with you the Yoga Marga sequence. I want to touch into Sankalpa right away, because this is going to help us with creating our invitation. At the beginning of every yoga class is probably one of the most important times of class, you know? The students are arriving, and depending on if you're working in a physical studio, some physical studios really require their teachers to be present to greet each student, or to just at least energetically set up the space, because how we intentionally set up the space will dictate how our students will feel jumping into their practice sometimes, no? If you can set an altar or light a candle. But arguably, the intention begins with you. And our Sankalpa as a teacher is the guiding light to our teaching. And so it is good for us to know where our true north is, right? I was doing a lot of physical training in Seattle, trying to get my body strong enough to perform physically as a dancer. And while I was doing the exercises, you know, I was just like, okay, I'm trying to get through this. My coach was like, yo, get with your breath. Where is your true north? And that really struck me, because it wasn't just about doing the reps. It was like I needed to be right within and observing what I was doing and knowing where I was at to actually make these reps worth the while. I'm like, okay, well, why am I actually doing this? I'm not just trying to get through this to be done, right? I'm trying to do this for the greater good of me, so I can perform at the level I want to perform at on stage and deliver the message that I need my body to deliver, right? Otherwise, I'm just a piece of meat on stage doing like Zumba, which is not the point, right? That's not the same as performing a piece of artwork. And so sankalpa in our yoga practice, our sankalpa has to be really integrated into our personal practice. It's your intention. And so I'm going to stop the share here, and I'm going to invite all of us into a short discussion. Question is, at home, do you have a personal practice wherein, or a ritual every day where you're reminding yourself of why you're doing what you're doing? Like, do you have a moment in the morning where you're lighting a candle and that reminds you of your sankalpa? In the morning, is your sankalpa the way that you remember your intention? Do you journal? Are you spending your morning with prayer? What are you doing every day to remind you of your sankalpa? For me, I'm not gonna lie, it's not gonna look the same day to day. For me, what reminds me of my sankalpa every morning is my breath. For sure, I have to breathe because I can be sprung in my thoughts. But usually I'm lighting a little bit of cedar, something like this. And then the smell reminds me of, okay, it's time for me to get quiet for 5 minutes. Maybe I have 5 minutes today, and that's the beginning of me remembering. I do a little bit of a prayer, honestly. And sometimes it's only in bed if I don't have a lot of time. Sometimes I'm in bed and I'm like, thank you, sun, thank you, earth, for waking me up today. I'm not kidding. It gets to be like that sometimes. And that's mine. What about you?
I'll share. Um, I definitely have practices. I'm glad that you asked this question because I do have practices that I've implemented a couple of months ago, like meditation, journaling, um, EMT tapping, all of that. But my intentions, I just realized, have still been in survival mode just because you're asking this question. So I I almost want to say I guess I wasn't at the place where I was knowing really focused on a purpose other than I just need to get out of this shit. Like this
Mhm.
these 2 years of shit. So that was my purpose that at the time. But because you're asking this question, I feel like it's God share, like, okay, let's move forward. You're in that in between, which I know I am, where I need to step into the light and step into my purpose and start now that I've been protecting myself and doing what I need to do to get out of that. So thank you for asking that question. That was interesting.
You're welcome. And thank you for sharing. It's We're not expected to be in a perfect place all the time. And yeah, sometimes I'm in a fight, flight, or freeze. That's why my daily rituals change according to where I'm at in my life as well, right? Like some days I'm able to get up and play my singing bowls for 5 minutes, and that's great. Some days I can't. I'm in bed and I have to just say my gratitudes, and then that puts me in a place where I'm like, okay, I can shift now, right? Um, yeah. Thank you for sharing, Selena. Anybody else that wants to share?
I'll share.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I definitely try to write my gratitudes down every morning when I'm in, but I have a little journal and I finally started journaling most days, which I always wanted to, and I've actually been pretty consistent with it. But I feel like I actually like think about my intention when I'm in awesome. It's like when you say, you know, let's set your intention. But I feel like it's more of like a personal intention. So like this year it was like rebirth has been kind of like my intention for doing all this stuff.
Mm.
Um, and while I think that like eventually that will like spill over to, you know, like affect others, it's more of like a self-directed intention. Um, so but I really like I hadn't thought about thinking about my intention before, you know, like very much all these things. So yeah. And I think also like the most when I think about it the most is like when I'm working with clients and I'm like wanting to dive deeper with them. Um and when it comes to those skills, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're seeing the broader application of remembering your intention because it helps you help your clients in a very coherent and integrative way, in a deeper way, right? Because we can have clients and just superficially help them with the one thing they need, but then to see them on a level, on a deeper level, means we also have to meet ourselves on that deep level of and being rooted in our intention, because it's like, okay, I really want to serve my clients. That doesn't just mean do what they want.
Yeah. I'm also seeing here Sankalpa in the chat is a song about our intention we set for ourselves. Not out of a sense of inadequacy or desire for change, but an understanding of our deepest nature and commitment to support our highest truth. So I don't know if that's like what's an example, I guess, of listening.
Of a sankalpa.
Yeah.
Let's go off of what you just said. You said that your sankalpa is rebirth. That's a high truth. That's packed with so many things. What does rebirth mean then?
Mm. Mm.
Mhm.
A lot.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I mean, for like my lifetime now, I feel like I've been changing a lot of things, but then I've also been doing a lot of ancestor work. So I feel like kind of a rebirth of like my generational stuff is happening. And then, yeah, kind of what's been going on for me lately.
Yeah. And if we are wanting to be reborn, not in the same samsaric cycles or cycle of, you know, suffering in some sort of way, we have to choose to rise out of patterns, is what I feel is a rebirth. And that means being honest, being truthful, saying yes when you mean yes, no when you mean no. There's a lot of these values that we have to learn to live, that we have to learn to embody. And so when we say sankalpa in yoga, we're really rechecking where our ego and our awareness are at. We're checking what our intention is and where we're taking action from. because yes, we can check off boxes in our day, and that is a great, like, that's great. We need to check off boxes in our day. But if we want to move our lives forward, if we want to be these leaders of our lives, then we're also going to be like available in some sort of way to a deeper sense of truth within ourselves. So, like, let's say, how do I do this? Let's say there's a conflict in your yoga class, and a student is struggling in class. They're totally struggling to understand the postures. And you notice them as you're teaching, they're fidgeting, they're looking around the room. But your intention, you're not with your intention that day. You're just like, I just need to get through this. I'm just a yoga teacher. I'm just a yoga teacher. I'm just here to teach. And so you just say the words and then you leave. You don't say bye to that student. You didn't say hi. You didn't introduce yourself. Is that living intentionally, coherently as a spiritual leader, as a person that's truly wanting to be there for their student? Like, if that was my intention, if my truest intention was, I want to serve my students as a yoga teacher, and then I show up, I teach the class, but I don't even say hi to them, and then I leave, is that being? Maybe. You just have to ask yourself how you're showing up. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Also makes sense. Yeah. 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 I think I still am a little confused, but
It's okay. We
I
can
don't know.
confuse.
I'm processing. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Are you wondering what's the difference between intention and sankalpa, or living a sankalpa and
Yeah. I guess I I don't know. I don't know. I think is there well, I thought Sankalpa was intention. So like if I had an intention for like a yoga class, I was gonna be like a yoga teacher, like going to class, then it's and then and then like an intentional for personal spiritual practice. Like is it just one you have one, or maybe I'm thinking too much, like getting too much in the lead with this.
no, it's okay. We can we'll continue to talk about it. Intention is sankalpa and intention pretty much mean the same thing, but just like as in any Sanskrit, all Sanskrit, there's a wide variety of what meanings are, because some people will say intention and sankalpa are very different because sankalpa is like a sacred vow, right?
Hmm.
Mm.
I
And
Thank you.
oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I have a thought that may or may not be helpful. Um, so kind of how you were saying that like you're depending on like where you are at in life or like wherever like the phase of life you're in, your intention, your sound kappa, what you're trying to call in and cultivate can kind of change depending on the day. Some days you may have more time and space to be intentional about like calling in this intention and rooting into it before you go about your day. Sometimes you may not have as much time for that. I've noticed for myself that depending on what I'm going through in life, maybe my intention is to lean more into resilience or lean more into one ways, but I've noticed for myself, I always have like grander themes of intention for longer periods of life. And my most common one that I come back to time and time again, so I guess would be my personal sankalpa, the one that I feel like overarches or ties into everything, is surrender. I navigate that or incorporate that in my practice by surrendering to the flow of practice when my mind is, getting in the way. I have to check myself to come back to my intention and let go of things and then fall back into the practice, or if I feel too challenged or something. Same in life. If I realize I'm starting to feel more resistance because I'm wanting to exercise more control, or I'm feeling more emotionally reactive because there's a situation that's happening that's out of my control, or I'm trying to plan too far ahead in the future, I have to always come back to my intention and that like grounding myself to like take a breath, surrender to the flow of life. Everything will happen as it's meant to. Everything unfolds in perfect timing, and that one like intention or word for me, surrender, is applicable in so many different ways, but it just depends on what I'm experiencing at that given moment in life. But that's the one that resonates most truly as like a highest truth for like me and my soul and what it's experiencing in this lifetime. Like I may not always have time to like have a full ritual or do a full meditation like I would like to. I definitely always think about it when I'm like saging. It's like part of the little script that I say. But every morning that I have to wake up and take my dog outside because she's an old lady and she'll pee everywhere, I do that and just like make myself like look at the sky and the trees, listen to birds, take a deep breath, surrender to whatever the flow of life is bringing in this day, in this week, in this moment. That for me is my sankalpa. I don't know if that helps make sense or if that's how you would use that phrase or word for it, but yeah, I don't know if that's helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. There's no right or no hard or fast right or wrong. All these questions that we're wrapping our mind around are yes. It lives in this realm of what is our intention? And that is the big question here. Where is our intention lying for when we're teaching? Because when we make our introductions and each of us are gonna use our voice, and that's how this is a practicum, because I know some people are like, I thought this is a practicum class. This is a part of it. It lives in our voice. That's all I'm saying. All of our intentions, if we know what our intention is when we speak in class, it's gonna be felt in our voice. Mm-hmm. And if we know for at least, if we can check in for 2 seconds, taking a breath before we're about to teach and just remind ourselves like, I'm in a phase of rebirth, and today I'm going to show my rebirth by giving these students a class about inversions, right? And you take that breath and you know where you're at, and then you step into that room and you're like, hi, good morning. My name is Kaylee. Today, this is an all levels vinyasa class. We're going to be working on inversions. The theme in my life today is about rebirth, and inversions are scary for me, but we're going to tackle this today, right? And I'm able to show up into class positive in my present moment, clear on what I want to say, super aligned in this energetic channel here, because I know where I'm at, because I spent 5 seconds right before class. And then maybe yesterday I had spent an hour writing down my thing. That's living a sankalpa. It's checking in some way. It's asking these questions. It's being a little confused, being with our people, being like, what does sankalpa really mean? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, perfect. Amazing. Yes, to all of this. But it's genuinely being sincere about what you want to show up with and being where you're at and knowing where you're at. right? How does that feel?
Great. I feel like I got a little emotional for a second there.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I did
Yeah. Okay.
too. Uh-huh. Because
Yeah. So it's landing.
say that again.
It's landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so crazy vulnerable to be teachers, y'all. It's deep work. Even if you're just talking about lunges for the day. Because we're learning that it's so much more than just lunges. And so today, we're running out of time already. For the next 4 minutes, everybody write down sankalpa for the year, like maybe one word that you want to invoke for the year. And it can change tomorrow. It's okay. This is not solid. And then from there, maybe an intention for today, like I'm going to live that sankalpa by doing my homework, cleaning my room, doing one prayer, right? And then maybe one as a teacher, an intention. Whatever year means to you, Angel. Yeah. Some people, a year is like 2 minutes in yoga time. Like 60-minute yoga class feels like a year sometimes. For the remainder of the year, maybe. How about that?
So year, day, and as teacher.
Yeah. 3 different intentions. So we'll take 2 more minutes to do that. And then I'm going to put in the chat here what everyone's going to do today. Everyone's going to use their voices. It's going to be a no big deal. And I want you to just fill in the blanks with your own statements. And today it can be a fantasy. You can dream. So, hi, my name is Christine. This is an all levels vinyasa class. My intention for today's practice is to help you feel brave. We will do crow poses. You know, fill it out, fill out this statement, and then we're just going to read it out loud to activate our voices for today's practicum. But the whole point of this is just to help you begin to create your introductions and be comfortable speaking. Okay. Go ahead and round out your intentions, and maybe you ran out of words, or maybe not everything feels clear. It's okay. I really want to say that saying what's on your heart is not an easy task. Saying what's on your mind is also not an easy task. It's a practice that develops over time and evolves with time. And some days when you step in as a teacher, you're not going to be able to access the heart space because that's not where you're at. But if you know where you're at before you teach, then you will have a lot of forgiveness for yourself, and you won't be expecting certain things. Because I know some teachers, they really love to get a rise out of their students. They love to get an emotional healing response from their students. But some days they don't evoke that because they're technically not in that place. They're in more of a physical place. A place where they can get people to feel their body. We set ourselves up well if we know where we're at as teachers. We set ourselves up well if we're checked in with ourselves. And we teach the best. We teach the best when we teach what's alive in our life, and knowing where our intention is, our purpose is for the day, reminding ourselves of our sankalpa constantly helps us to be that sort of a teacher that is deep, a teacher that is connected to the ocean, not just a droplet of water separate from the ocean, you know? And that's why chanting and mantra is invoked in many classes. Like some teachers say the same exact thing in the beginning and end of class, just so that they create a container, right? A container that they can rely on for the class. If you're doing a creative sequence week to week, it's really important for you to check in. Okay, so who wants to go first? I kind of just did an example. I'll do it again. Hi, my name is Christine. Today we're doing an all levels vinyasa class. My intention for today's class is to open your hips. We will do Supta Baddha Konasana, and we will focus on hip openers. Lucy put something in the chat. Hi, my name is Lucy. This is an all levels vinyasa class. My intention for today's practice is to help you feel empowered. We will do goddess pose and star pose variations. Lucy, thank you for sharing. Do you want to use your voice today to activate it?
Hi.
Hi, Lucy.
Sure. My name is Lucy. This is an all levels vinyasa class. My intention for today's practice is to help you feel empowered. We will do goddess pose and star pose variation.
Thank you. Nice to hear your voice, Lucy. Okay, beautiful. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Angel. My pronouns are they, them, and this is an all levels vinyasa. My intention for today's practice is for you to feel like you truly deserve peace. We will do child's pose, so please use any props to make sure that your body is in the most comfortable position.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I could really feel it from both you and Lucy. Like, yeah, there was a truth in what you had to say there, right? What you're wanting to offer. It's in the voice. Okay, anybody else? Kaylee.
Hi, my name is Kaylee. This is an all levels vinyasa class. My intention for today's practice is to bring ease into your body. We will do gentle, seated, and ground poses.
Beautiful. And I could feel the ease in your voice. It was there. Yeah. See? Right. Right. Anybody else? Let's go.
Okay. Hi, my name is Selena. This is an all levels vinyasa class. My intention for today's practice is to bring inspiration. We will do and be focused on different warrior poses. I wasn't sure about, because I'm still learning about I don't know all the poses, so I just said warrior poses.
And you have the voice of, what was the intention again?
Inspiration.
Yes. And there is, to be inspirational to people, you have to be like somewhat of a warrior or a leader. And I could feel it in your voice. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So do we hear there's an energetics that I'm trying to get at when you're aligned with your intention? Uh-huh. Okay, let's go, y'all. Andrel, Gabrielle, or Joaquin, any of y'all feel like it?
Sure. Hi, my name is Gabrielle. This is an all levels vinyasa flow class. My intention for today's practice is to feel grounded and balanced. We will do tree pose, moving into warrior 3.
Beautiful. And you showed in your intention that you wanted to do something with a progression, and then you stated that afterwards, and I could feel that you have like a vision for it. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your insights earlier as well. Beautiful. Anybody else? Andrel and Joaquin, I know maybe you might be busy. Just give you a moment.
Shoot, I lost the note because I switched to my laptop. So it was hi, my name is Joaquin. I will be your instructor for today. And then it said this is an all levels vinyasa class, the intention, and then what was the last part?
You say, my intention for today's practice is, we will,
Blank.
yeah, I'll type it out again for you. No problem.
Oh, the poses we will do. Okay, I'll go. Hi, my name is Joaquin. I'll be your instructor for today. This is an all levels vinyasa class. My intention for today's class and practice is to help you balance and deepen your practice. That was a little redundant. My intention for today's class is to help you balance and deepen your practice. We will do lunge variations, binds, and revolved bound lizard pose.
Very thoughtful. Your voice feels balanced. And so when we take in each other's voices, do you all feel the energetics of people's intention living in there? You can also feel when a teacher's a little unsure, it doesn't mean anything is bad. But you can also feel that in there, right? You can feel it when I'm a little unsure and I'm like, I don't know if what I'm saying is landing. And what brings you back to steering the ship is, usually breathing and then remembering, oh yeah, I decided that I wanted to balance the students today. And then it comes back through in the voice, no? For the teacher, if they can bring it back to center. How do y'all feel about using your voices? What did you pick up? Maybe 1 or 2 comments, and then I'm going to share the standard sequence.
For me, I picked up that what I wrote down, when I said it out loud, I realized that maybe that wasn't using the exact words that I wanted to use. And so I went back and rewrote things.
Nice. So you could actually hear kind of what you wanted to tweak. That's the beauty of it too. Nice. And then we have one more from Andrel. Hi, I'm Andrel. This is an all levels gentle yoga class. My intention today is to practice self-compassion, meeting ourselves with grace wherever we are. We'll move slowly, honoring our body's needs through heart openers, twists, and intentional breath. Beautiful. I think Andrel is in work right now, so they cannot speak. Thank you for sharing. And Joaquin, thank you for sharing. They said, my breath. Yeah, just remember to breathe. When we remember to breathe before class or when we get a little flustered, it really does bring us back to center. And usually your intention is living inside the breath, whether your mind is on it or not. Okay, good job, y'all. Good job. It's not easy to really dive into the voice right away, but we have to be really comfortable with it, especially as teachers. And so I'm sharing with you the standard sequence. Can we open that up? Let me know if you're having trouble opening it up. Let me see if I can give everyone access. Do you all have access to it? Yeah? Okay, let me try to share my screen once again. This is going to be the very standard vinyasa sequence that we're all going to be required to remember. And as you can see, you're just seeing names listed here. With a warm-up Sukhasana, you'll start in easy seat. You'll do seated twist to cat-cows. You'll do a Sun A. You'll build the Chaturanga flow. You'll do the Sun B variation. And then you'll learn the peak wave. And this is every posture you're going to know. So just get familiar with it. Maybe even try the practice at home. And where there's no cues, right? Why are there no cues? Well, it's going to require you to figure that on your own. So go ahead and save this sequence, copy it for yourself, and then begin to make your own notes on it. Personally, I like to just see the postures so that I can get to know my own way of teaching in and out of each thing. And this sequence is super nice because you are going to create your own sequence towards the end of the year. You'll probably create, and if you're already an established yoga teacher, because I know some of us are, build off of it. Maybe, you'll create several sequences But this is just so that everybody can start activating their voice and know and have the same thing, have the same sequence taught to one another. Do we have any questions?
Christine, I do.
Oh,
I'm sorry. This is all new to me. So the sequence that you sent us, you're going to go one by one and teach us going forward, or we're supposed to look them up and learn them.
for the first, when we start teaching each section, I will gladly teach it to you first,
Okay.
like the first guinea pig every time. And
Okay.
you can literally just follow me. And
Okay.
then one by one, for whoever's showing up that day, you will do that. You will say it as well. And you'll learn to teach online because it's a different skill to teach online. But yeah,
Got it.
I'm here to help y'all. I'm not gonna leave you in the dust.
Thank you.
And if it helps, you can start putting the English next to it. Adho Mukha Svanasana, that's down dog. Uttanasana, that's a forward fold. Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Right? That might start helping you. And in my opinion, if you don't have the languaging, you're not used to saying these words, just start saying it to yourself. Because I know we're going to start with teaching Sun A. I think maybe in a week or two, but we're going to start actually by teaching easy seat. We're going to spend one whole practicum. You're going to teach each other how to sit in an easy seat, because that's pretty much how you begin every practice, unless you start them on their back. But yeah, the alignment for that. Any other questions?
Who wrote this sequence? I like it.
Me.
Like mine. Very similar.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of also a sequence that maybe core power. I didn't go to core
Yeah.
power. Yeah, but
Yeah, or like at Gold's Gym, the
yeah.
yoga teachers that they have there, really good yoga teachers. Very similar.
Yeah, and I
They
find
find
that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
oh, it's okay.
Yeah, and I find that when you start with a standard sequence that to you learn with, especially a vinyasa flow sequence, that is pretty bare bones. It really opens up a lot of pathways for you to get creative. I agree. And I'm not here to hate on core power, but they do breed really good vinyasa teachers because they hammer it into them. But we're gonna do it in our own way. Yeah, we're not core power. No, we're not. We're not machines, that's for sure. We're gonna be lacing y'all's individual magic into it for sure. And I really want this to be able to help you get into that juice, because that's really what we're after, more than just nailing down the sequence perfectly. No. But I am interested in you being able to form these words in your mouth and being able to think for yourself in class, in a way where you know exactly where they're at, and you can like, oh, well, this would be really fun to add this posture here instead, and then still be able to create a nice, beautiful flow on the spot. Yeah. Because it's really nice when you can intuitively come up with a flow, and you can do that if you've repeatedly done some of this stuff again and again. Okay, so this is yours to enjoy. Go ahead and finish off any readings that you have for the week, and then I think we'll see you at 1 o'clock, yeah? Okay, if you have any questions, you can stick around with me. Otherwise, I'll see y'all again soon. Good job. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
So for the poses, I wrote things to make notes on, which is like what props might be needed, where to look for optimal balance, put English next to it so I understand it a bit better and so I can say it for them. And I was also wondering if there's anything else that comes to mind for you that I didn't say that might help me
That might help
understand
you.
better. Yeah.
I draw stick figures.
I love drawing too, so.
I'm a visual person, so you can look up each posture and then draw a little stick figure of it right next to it. You'll be the most successful if you flow this in your own body again and again. And then you'll find out that, wow, a lot of teachers do all this stuff all the time. You'll start seeing like, oh, okay, and you're gonna be able to pick it out in everyone's yoga class when you start taking classes. It's kind of magical how it all interlaces like that. Yeah. I like stick figures. I like drawing.
I had a question also.
Mm-hmm.
So from here until next Monday, we're reading for the next week what's in there, and then beginning taking notes on the poses that you just shared with us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you in like in half an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
I had a
Bye.
question in the chat. Maybe we'll address it later, but
Let
we
me
didn't
see.
really talk about the weekly exchanges. I was
Hmm.
hoping you would answer this question when everybody was on there
Oh no, I'm
because we're not,
sorry.
I don't feel like no one's doing it unless they are, and I just didn't do it.
Yeah. Weekly exchanges are going to be a really funny thing, honestly. It's going to be up to you to really get it going. Maybe you'll have a partner that week that remembers, and then they'll be on you, and then that'll be the blessing in disguise. But yeah, I will acknowledge that better next week. And maybe I'll even ask Serenity to talk about it today at 1 p.m.
Yeah, I think Lucy was mine, but she was teaching and busy, so I didn't bother her.
It's okay, and and honestly, week by week, you're gonna notice it's gonna help you get like temperature checks on the community. That's kind of the point. And then over time, you'll start developing, relationships with people.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing it up because we can have a conversation about it. And I think it's interesting because when we bring it up later, people will start having their reactions. And this is kind of like the whole point, like people are like, oh, I'm not showing up to do the work. And it's not like I'm trying to call y'all out, but internally, y'all can know how y'all feeling,
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Perfect.
Uh-huh. But then over time, you're gonna start to notice that you crave these check-ins because
Right.
when you're in it,
Mhm.
you really need to talk about it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 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 No, you're right. Last week was just a test. I'll do better this week.
And my apologies for that. I didn't realize that we were assigned
Oh
we
yeah,
did
you're
this
my
when we
partner.
first came up to Yoga Martyr. So
Yeah.
it was good. It was nice. You get to know everyone. And it's interesting because I talked about it on Friday and I didn't even realize that we were that stuff. But we can still schedule something to meet sometime. So you just hit me up and let me know your schedule. So that way we can still do that.
Yeah, yeah. I love to talk with you. Yeah, let's do it.
Well,
Sounds good.
I'm so happy that you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you for asking about that, and we gonna get it going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it. Well, that's all my questions.
Okay. We'll see you at 1. Hopefully, if you're, I mean, maybe you can listen in while you're at work. I
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
schedule. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your flexibility.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
Anytime.
Bye.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.